Ooh, it's a great question. So I think leadership empowerment, in my view, for women, it's about ensuring that women are given a voice, given a platform, feel that they are valued, respected, and heard in whatever choices they choose to make in life, right? We can't make the assumption that all women want to be ambitious, career minded people, but actually, some may want to choose a different path, and that's entirely fine. But they should feel empowered to be able to take that path and respected to be able to take that path and celebrated as well. Such a good question. And okay, honestly, I think that most people would expect sort of some polished answer of how I would choose to balance it. I think for me, which I mentioned to a lot of people, I'm fully transparent about it. It literally is a day to day exercise. It's literally a day to day challenge and struggle to be able to balance between the two because, and not just between the two, right? You're also balancing your own personal needs as an individual and the different roles that you play, whether it's in a professional or personal setting. So every day, there's a question of, am I doing enough here? Am I doing enough there? And I think as women, we criticize ourselves a lot more and we question ourselves a lot more about why we choose certain decisions. But it's around finding that right balance on a day-to-day basis, trading off on a day-to-day basis. So, for example, the last few weeks has been pretty hectic from a work standpoint for me professionally, involving a lot of travel, involving a lot of sort of needing to make sacrifices from a professional standpoint. Now, that has made it challenging as a mother of four, right? Because my children have needs and their priorities as well, which I need to sort of juggle and manage. So I then, choose then to make sure that when I am back, I really dedicate and focus and spend time with them. I make sure the moments that really matter for them is scheduled in my calendar so that I block and protect that time off for them. And so it's a balance between the two. You just need to be able to be flexible and adaptable to juggle that, but also be okay with the fact that there will be points of time where you will need to prioritize one or the other, and accept the fact that that's what it's going to be like. There's so many. No, okay. There are quite a lot of different challenges, but I think the one thing which I would say is one of the biggest challenges, and I mentioned it during the panel conversation earlier, is this unconscious bias that we have as a society, as a culture. And it's normal, it's inherent in most people and entirely normal that we have biases in certain directions or not, right? I think what's important is just being aware of what your unconscious bias is. And I do definitely feel there is an unconscious bias towards women and what women are able to achieve, what women are capable of. And I think there is a view that there are certain issues related to working with women and dealing with women, which are biases that shape people and maybe shape processes, shape policies, decisions, and so on and so forth. So, how do we overcome that? How do we make people aware that they do have these unconscious biasness, and how do we make sure we put in place again practices and policies to overcome and ensure there's greater opportunity for inclusion, whether it's for women or whether it's for other more marginalized parts of society? I think for me, the one thing that I tell myself each time a challenge comes and hits my way is one, to not make any rash decisions. That I've lived by that principle for quite a while, which is stop, take a step back, really think through this before you do anything and make any rash decisions, right? Because I think in today's society, it's very common, immediately, upset with something, wow, social media, I'm going to tell everyone and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then we get carried away by emotion. And so I'm a big believer of thinking through things in a rational manner. And sometimes when it happens, a challenge comes your way, you have a tendency to react. And so I don't like making decisions until I've calmed down and really thought about it. So I always say to myself, don't make rash decisions, calm down, think about it first. Number two is also take a step back and try to see the bigger picture. Don't just see it from your lens, see it from other people's lens. Try to understand where they're coming from and what could be the motivation or the driver behind what's happening, the challenge that has hit you, and does it make sense? Is it fair? Is it unfair? So on and so forth. That would be sort of my second thought. And then the third piece for me is everything happens for a reason. I don't know what the reason is. I'm a big believer in, God and, God's ways. And I genuinely feel that if a challenge comes your way, it's either to teach you something, it's either to help you to sort of pause and reflect and learn from it, or there's another path that's going to open up for you that you cannot see right now, but it will come. So that's how I approach sort of challenges in life. So that's a question that I think all consulting firms are grappling with and trying to figure out, right? What is going to change, not just in the consulting industry, but globally, right? That will shape economies, businesses, industries, and, they are our clients, right? We support governments, we support private sector, public sector industries, social impact organizations, and that can evolve and change with time, right? And the advent of technology and AI is ramping things up a lot faster, and that's moving quite a bit. So in the consulting industry, I do feel like there will be real changes in how the consulting industry is being shaped. I do feel that there will still very much be a consulting industry, but the shape and delivery of that will be very different, right? Because of the abilities to be able to utilize technology, because of the advent of AI, because the type of talent and human capital that is our biggest asset will change and evolve as well. So I do feel the consulting industry will still remain, but the shape of it will evolve. So, okay, honestly, upon reflection of this, right, I think that, and I look back at myself, right, because, if I were to look at myself when I was younger, what did I ever think I would achieve what I have achieved today? Honestly, no. I thought I'd be like, I'll work a little bit, figure things out, and then I will, live and get into a comfortable lifestyle, and that's it, right? I never thought I would get to the position that I'm in. And I'm not sure, and it took a while to get there, right? Because, push myself outside my comfort zone, really drive myself forward. And that happened because I had some really fantastic mentors that saw the potential that I myself did not see. So I think my advice to a lot of women is don't sell yourself short. Don't put yourself down. I think we lack confidence in ourselves. And there's so much that we can achieve and there's so much that we can deliver, and we shouldn't give up, right? I say this, but sometimes this is a conversation I have with myself on a daily basis, which is like, oh, maybe I should give up, right? But I do feel like the women in the workforce, for our country, for the economy, for the nation, I think it's important that we continue to strive and see what value we can bring to the country and to society, and how we can continue to help to drive things forward. I think that's really important. So have the courage, have the ambition, have the motivation to be able to do more than you thought was possible.